Hi everyone, my name is Suzanne and I'm a Chinese metaphysics master in Hong Kong. Today we're going to continue and take a look at the animal signs for 2023, which is the year of the water rabbit. Now, today we're going to focus on the rooster. So for all of you who are either born in the rooster year or have the rooster anywhere else in your Bazi chart, this reading applies. Now, the first thing, as always, we need to actually plot our Bazi chart. So you can go to the link here and then plot your chart. Ideally, you also know the time of birth, not just the date of birth. It's always more precise to know the time of birth as well. But even if not, then don't worry. We can still apply this outlook. Now, what you need to focus on once you have plotted your chart is this bottom part here. Right? So this indicates the year, the month, the day, and the hour. And this particular person is born in the ox year, the tiger month, the rooster day, and the tiger hour. Now, as you can see, even though this person is not born in a rooster year, this person does have a rooster animal sign in their chart. It's on the day. And therefore, this reading also applies. So it doesn't just matter what year you're born in. You may have up to 4 different animal signs in your natal chart. And so you may take a look at that and see whether anywhere in your chart you have that rooster. And then we'll take a look at what is going to happen or what the outlook is for you for the next year. Now, the rooster next year doesn't necessarily have any auspicious stars in the chart. There is some inauspicious stars, but not many auspicious stars or any at all. And therefore, the ranking is all the way at the bottom. Yeah. So it's, I wouldn't want to say it's the worst of all the animal signs, but it's the one that needs to be most careful. Now, just because you don't have any auspicious auxiliary stars in your natal chart doesn't mean that you're going to have a terrible year. Yeah, first of all, as you just saw, you have more than one animal sign in your chart. And secondly, if you don't have auspicious stars in your natal chart, what we look at is what kind of risks are you going to be faced with? And if you're aware of the risks and if you can then mitigate those risks, they are going to be minimized or they won't even appear at all. So then they won't create any havoc in your life. And obviously, it's going to lead to a year that is much, much smoother than not knowing what you are faced with. Now, taking a look at those inauspicious stars, the Calamity Shah star is one that you only need to be careful with if you are going to a place that frequently suffers from natural disasters. So, for example, I would probably not recommend to go and visit a volcano next year if you are the rooster, or don't go chasing a tornado or things like that. Yeah, so if you are willingly, deliberately, consciously exposing yourself to situations where nature could get out of control, then you may actually be caught up in this disaster. You're not going to die, yeah, so don't worry about that. But you really may be caught up and maybe get injured or you know, may find yourself in a situation that's pretty difficult to get out of. You may get trapped, yeah. So I would say for those of you who have the rooster in the chart, try to avoid those kind of situations if you can. And they're quite easy to avoid. Yeah, don't go out in a massive rainstorm, for example, or anything like that. Just be a little bit careful with that. Now, you may also, with the Calamity Shah, you may also get into situations where you don't get what you were promised. And this can then lead to a sense of bitterness or betrayal or just unpleasant feelings. So I would say if someone makes promises to you next year, don't take them too seriously. You may not actually get what they promise. If you get really attached to a promise that's being made to you, then this may end up in disappointment. So just take a step back and you'll be okay. Now, the hurdle star is one that brings quite a number of obstacles into your life. But a lot of them are just in your mind. They're not real. So you may just feel like you're surrounded by problems, but they're mostly in your mind. So when you just start thinking of worst case scenarios instead of looking at realities on the ground, that's when the hurdle star kicks in. So that's something to watch out for, worst case scenario thinking. So you need to be much, much more mindful of your thoughts and your feelings about certain situations, and compare your thoughts with what's actually happening on the ground. And if you feel like you may not be an objective decision maker or someone who can look at the situation objectively, then just ask a friend to take a look and give you a second opinion. Then you'll be perfectly fine. Now, the year breaker star is the star that is in direct opposition with the actual annual energy. So with the rabbit. So the rooster and the rabbit, they form a clash. And traditionally, a clash is looked at as something that is undesirable, that we don't want to encounter, because clashes bring changes, and usually they bring quite drastic changes or big changes. Now, changes are not necessarily anything bad. Yeah, a change can actually help you move from a terrible job that you hate to a job that you love. Yeah, that would be a good change. Or it may manifest in a move to a better apartment or to a better house. That's also a change. And although the process may be uncomfortable, the outcome is more than often a good one. So with the year breaker in your chart, what you need to do is embrace changes and make them work for you. Do not be afraid of changes. In fact, if you look at your chart and you find the rooster there, think about what it is that you want to change in your life because it doesn't work or it's outdated or you're not happy with it. Think about what it is that you want to change and that you haven't had the courage to do for whatever reason, or maybe you haven't had the time to do. Then do it this year and you've fulfilled the year breaker forecast, yeah, to make a big change. So look at what change it is that you want to make and make it this year. And then lastly, we've got the great consumer. So the great consumer star, as the name implies, brings expenses and sort of like a money outflow. So there's a possibility of breaking your bank account, and that means that you really need to make a budget and ensure that your cash flow is not going to be too affected by whatever happens this year. So you need to, well, making a budget is one thing, right? But then sticking to the budget is critical. So you need to not only make a budget before the start of the rabbit year, the water rabbit year, which is February 4th, not only make a budget, but then actually also hold yourself accountable to that budget, and do not spend on large lavish projects, gifts, or just items that you want for yourself. Yeah, be very, very conscious. Otherwise, at the end of the year, you may realize that you've actually spent much, much more money than came in. So those are the kind of risks that are coming in for the rooster. A lot of them, or actually all of them, are preventable, with exception of the year breaker, where I would say go for it, make that change actually happen. Because if you take control and if you make that change happen, then you're in the driver's seat. You can control how that change happens, and you're not the victim of an unexpected change, right? Now, the key focus, therefore, for the rooster is focus on your financial management. Yeah, be persistent. Don't give up this year. There may be obstacles coming your way, but they're mostly minor. And as I said, they're mostly in your mind. So don't worry too much. And beware of accidents and natural disasters. And that is a fairly easy one. Just don't expose yourself to situations that are prone to natural disasters, or where you already see, or where there's already a weather warning that you shouldn't go outside or you shouldn't go hiking because there's a hailstorm or a thunderstorm coming. Just stay home, yeah, and you'll be absolutely fine. I would say the biggest thing here is financial management. Yeah, so for the rooster, really keep that in mind and make sure that you have a budget in place. Now, the auspicious month or the most auspicious month for the rooster next year, if you want to take a big decision or if you want to make that big change, would be January, April, and May. So do it then. January is January 2024. Yeah, that is the last month of the water rabbit month. So not this coming January, but January 2024. And the months where I would say be a little bit careful with life-changing decisions, because these months are a little bit bumpy and are in opposition to your energies, are March, October, and December. So if you can postpone life-changing decisions or important decisions and take them in any of the other months, particularly January, April, and May, and you'll be absolutely fine. So for all those who have the rooster in the chart, do not be scared of next year. It's going to be a fabulous year. You know the risks now, so you can prepare. And because you're prepared, none of these will really be able to have a big effect on you. All right. So if you have any questions or if you want to have a personalized reading for your chart, then get in touch with me. All my contact details are in the notes below. You can also leave your comments or your questions in the chat, in the comment section. And yeah, I would love it if you just shared this video, liked, subscribed, and I will see you soon.